It's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio, 95.7 FM. I'm Kevin Kietzman with your dose of caffeine and positivity for your mid-morning on a Wednesday. I'm going to put Mark Van Sickle on a magic carpet. We're going to fly around this place today and feel great that we have a couple of major league teams. We're getting brand new stadiums in this town, and this is an awesome thing for the next generation of Kansas Cityans and sports fans. We'll have that for you coming up in just a moment. At the bottom of the hour, Tom Homan had a news conference today in Minneapolis. They have cut 700 forces, federal agents, from ICE and the Border Patrol from the city of Minneapolis, but they say they are not slowing down their enforcement of everything that they're doing. They're getting smarter, not smaller, he said, and that will continue. He also said special agents aren't going anywhere, just so you know. That's the people investigating the Somali fraud and the politicians in Minnesota and the voting. So we got to love that. We'll get into all that, and we've got some other fun stories, including a Canadian columnist he's a liberal, who's written a piece that says, you know what, maybe Trump's right, and maybe we should realize that in Canada. I'll share that with you a little bit later on. But we start today with the fact that Olathe, Kansas beat everyone in the Kansas City metro area to become the corporate headquarters of the Kansas City Chiefs football club. Well, that's not actually true. The corporate headquarters won't be here. The business offices of the operations of the Kansas City Chiefs football club will be in Olathe, Kansas. And the team will practice and train here, and they'll have an awesome facility, and it's going to bring all kinds of, I full disclosure, I live a couple miles away. I'm Kansan, and I've made my living in sports. So take this for what it is. Sports has been my life in Kansas City. It has helped raise my children. It has created prosperity in our family. It has at times been a very rocky relationship. I'm probably the last guy that should be, cheerleading for these teams because I'm not sure that either team particularly cares for me or the things that I say about them, but it's usually because it's the truth. And the truth of the matter in this case is Olathe won. 7-0 vote. Nobody dissented. I'm trying to find the harm in this. It's 165 acres. I know we've talked about a 300 square mile star zone. That's the state. This is Olathe. 165 new acres of development in Olathe for a National Football League franchise. They're going to kick the sales taxes in. The local taxes are going to get kicked in. They're going to get a percentage of the tax that they pay to Johnson County, which Johnson County will then kick in. What do I care? We got all this stuff going on. It's going to be new. It's going to be that district, and that's Olathe's commitment. Where did Olathe go wrong? Why would any single person in Olathe be against this? Unless it's in your backyard, you're seeing them build, you don't want the construction, whatever. Or if you live in a rural area, you've got some farmland and you got a bunch of acreage and you don't like development. I get it. You just don't want development. You don't want progress. You don't want people. You don't want anything. I get that. That's inevitable. At some point, it's inevitable in all these places. Olathe won. I reported to you several months ago on this show that the Chiefs had open options, exclusive options, to purchase land in 5 different places in Kansas for their facilities, for their training headquarters and their offices. You remember I reported these stories. One of them was Johnson Drive in 435. That's in Shawnee. There was another location in Shawnee. There was one in Lenexa. We thought there was one in Olathe, and we weren't sure where the fourth one was, but we assumed it was in Wyandotte County because we thought that's where they were building the stadium. They were all around the K-10 435 corridor for easy access to the stadium, things like that. Because remember, the team does practice at the stadium sometimes. So it needs to be, relatively convenient. This is not horrible for the Chiefs. They can gather at the stadium, have their practices there. It's not all that different than a regular day. Olathe won. They beat Lenexa. They beat Shawnee. They won. This is a great thing for Olathe. This is nothing to be against at the municipal level. And the people in Wyandotte County that have lost their mind are crazy people to begin with. Now, I may be going against this entire audience. I'm anti-tax like you. I'm the same way. But I've yet to notice in my life anything that's a star bond financially cost me in Kansas. And there's been some losers. All right, we got floating turds like a museum out in Overland Park on 135th Street. It sucks. What a waste. It was a loser. Guess what it wasn't? It wasn't an NFL team. It was a museum that kids go to one time, or their third grade class goes one time, and that's it. They don't go back. It didn't work. It's broke. I get it. There's a lot of things the Star Bonds have done that have failed. Guess what didn't fail? Speedway didn't fail. Sporting Kansas City hasn't failed. Nebraska Furniture Mart didn't fail. Have you ever bought anything there? I'm going to guess the majority of people listening right now at some point have shopped at Nebraska Furniture Mart. Oh, my God, you paid into a Star Bond. You're the devil. What are you doing? You can't buy furniture there. Oh, wait, it's cheaper than everywhere else. I guess I will buy my furniture there. And it does go to a Star Bond. These things work, folks. I've said it a million times. When I was little, Wyandotte County was nowhere. I made a joke on my podcast today. If my dad were alive today, and I told him, if he came back today, he died in 99. My dad from Alma, Kansas. When I was growing up, man, you didn't, Wyandotte County, KCK, it was like, no, there's nothing good going on there. No, you stay away. If he came back today, I said, Dad, the Chiefs are building a new stadium in Kansas City, Kansas, and all their headquarters and locations are going to be in Olathe. He would laugh his arse off so hard that that's not possible. Star Bonds did that. It's changed the way people in Kansas are living. The people I live around love it. Now I'm around conservatives. I understand the liberals, these people that were a lot of people complaining, okay? The liberals that are complaining, they hate billionaires, or they say they do. They don't. They like the ones that support their causes. They love to say class warfare, I hate billionaires, right? And they hate the NFL. They've been trying to shut the NFL down for decades. Concussions, unfairness, no black head coaches, all this stuff that the liberals have been attacking the NFL. You know why they hate it? Because conservatives love it. And it's the biggest thing in America. There is no equivalent to the National Football League in the United States of America. There's nothing like it. There is no entertainment like it. Go ask music artists how it's going right now with their concert tours. They all took last year off. They're like, yeah, we can't keep charging these prices every year. We got to take a couple of years off and create demand again. The NFL just keeps coming back every year. Record ratings this year, record revenue. Super Bowl is going to be a whopper. You can hate Bad Bunny all you want, but there is no bad news or controversy around the NFL. They just win. And they've just won really since the 80s. That's when the NFL changed dramatically. It was about the 1980s. The game got more interesting. They started throwing the football. There's something uniquely American about the sport. Other countries don't really play it. It's best man win. It's best person win. If a woman could be a kicker and come in and be the best in the league, there ain't an NFL team in the world that wouldn't love to have that woman kicker. We got female officials on the field. We got females in executive positions. We're going to have female coaches. It's all going to happen. It is for everyone. And you know what's great about football? It's American freaking exceptionalism. Go out and hit somebody in the mouth, beat the crap out of them for 3 hours, and walk off the field victorious. It's the embodiment of good versus bad. My team versus yours. Chiefs good, Broncos bad. There's a bad guy out there. There's a boogeyman on the field. Go crush him. It's not another one of 162 baseball games. It's unique. The liberals hate this. I think that's where the chatter's coming from. I literally don't know people that don't like this. I know a lot of people that are just anti-tax. I'm anti-tax. You know what I care about? And I'd be willing to bet right now. And maybe I'm just feeling too positive today. And I'm congratulatory to Olathe, and I don't live in Olathe. I live in Lenexa. We're being run by liberals now. They probably didn't try very hard to get the Chiefs, to be honest. They got a brand new hospital, and they're getting some low-income housing. They're happy. They're happy with that. But what's really working in all of this is the fact that the quality of life gets raised for people around there. I'm 2 miles away. I'm not very far from where this is. 100 millionaires are going to come to work 200 times a year just down the street from where I live. This cannot be bad for my position in life. I'm happy with that. The Panasonic plant, a couple miles down the road, I don't know how well that's doing. You want to talk about a boondoggle? Okay, that's a lot of money. Maybe it was worth it. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But I'd be willing to bet right now, in 5 years, when the Chiefs move into this facilities, that my state income taxes and or my property taxes are lower than today. And that's what I care about. We got a surplus in Kansas, $3 billion in 2026, $3 billion surplus. It's a $27 billion budget this year. If you start including what the budget will go up every year, over 30 years, okay, understand this. Last year's surplus could pay for the Chiefs Stadium. They could write a check right now, and it's just done. They could take the surplus and just pay for it right up front. That's it. Nobody gets taxed, no star bond, no nothing. They could pay for that. It's just sitting in the bank right now in Topeka. That's how much money they have in Kansas. That's how overtaxed we've been. That's not what this is. Get your butts in Topeka in session and lower the state income tax. Then in Johnson County, lower the property tax. It doesn't matter where you live, you can identify with that. Jackson County started this in our community. Lower the property taxes in Jackson County. The governor in Missouri wants to lower the income tax to 0. That's real progress. That's real progress. This thing is nothing. $2.8 billion over 30 years. I mean, let's assume that Kansas is going to spend $2 trillion in tax money over 30 years. And that's probably low because it keeps going up by billions every year. It's a $27 billion budget. Let's assume that it's $2 trillion. That is 0.0014% of what Kansas will take in the next 30 years. And this is what you're crying about? 0.0014% over the next 30 years for an NFL team. There is no other state the size of Kansas and will not be another state the size of Kansas that has an NFL team. That's never going to happen again. I'm going to be dead in a pine box before any smaller state gets an NFL team. This may be an NFL record that stands forever. What is the least populated state that has an NFL team? Kansas. And it ain't close. And it's never going to be close. It's a huge win. Congratulations, Olathe. You put basically nothing in. 165 acres of new development into the city, out of the city fund that's going to be new biz and what you send to the county anyway. Perfect. You want to talk about Kansas, the Starbond, how big that district is? Different conversation. Wyandotte County should pass this easily tomorrow night. I don't know that they will. I read a piece by Dave Helling today. Dave Helling went to the meeting last night. He described it as mayhem. Oh, God, their hair's on fire. Oh, really? Because the Starbond district hasn't worked. All the thousands of people that work there that live in Wyandotte County that would not have jobs today had they not done these things. Okay. Yeah, these are the people against it? I don't think so. I think it's the people showing up. Somebody told them to go show up and rail against this because there's a billionaire that's getting something on the cheap. Ooh, and it's the NFL. We don't like the NFL. I think we know who those people are. We'll see, Mr. Helling. He says it may not pass tomorrow night. Anybody want to take a wager on that? This is the best deal yet for Wyandotte County. It's better than the Speedway. It's better than soccer. It's better than the Monarchs. It's better than the furniture store. It's better than Margaritaville. It's better than Bass Pro. It's better than all of them. It's all anybody will see whenever they enter the state of Kansas. Big, beautiful signs they're going to put up that say, "Your home of the 4-time Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs." And Wyandotte County, at least in my lifetime, has deserved for good things to happen, for them to be proud of where they live and the things that are going on. It is not the place I knew growing up. I'm in Wyandotte County all the time. I shop there. I go to the Under Armour store. I love their sweats. I get golf shorts there. I go to Nebraska Furniture Mart. I eat at the restaurants. I go to Bass Pro. I go to soccer games, baseball games, you name it. If it's there, I do it. I even go to the casino. And yes, I'll sit here and boast about it, because that place crushes it. And now the Chiefs are coming, and Wyandotte County and Olathe, well played. 913-408-7957. Give me a call. Our phone lines are open on KCMO. I do believe sometimes we can overanalyze things. Ask this question, because this reminds me a little bit of Billie Eilish the other night at the Grammys, where, you know, she was talking about there are no borders, you can't be illegal, and we're on stolen land. How do you steal land that doesn't have borders? I don't even understand any of it, but she's crazy, and she said a stupid thing. Let me ask you this about the Chiefs move. How can this be bad for Missouri and bad for Kansas? That's what everybody wants you to believe. I mean, all due respect, Patrick Tuohy will tell you it's bad for both. It's bad that Missouri lost him, and it's bad that the Kansas got him. They overpaid. I'm like, no, there's no argument there. How can it be bad for Missouri and bad for Kansas? Pick a side. Who's it good for and who's it bad for? I don't see people celebrating in Missouri that the Chiefs are gone, that they just saved all this tax money. I don't see that. Here's Larry in North Kansas City. He's up first today. Hi, Larry.
Hey, good morning to you, Keith.
Hey.
It's always a pleasure and good conversation this morning.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask you in a very calm tone.
Mm-hmm.
If you've had this on your show, I've missed it. How is Missouri going to handle the Jackson County special tax for the stadium that they're assessing in the way of sales tax on purchases in Missouri? as Kansas now is really the official home of the I'm going to still call it Kansas City, not Olathe Chiefs, but it's still official home of the Kansas City Chiefs. When does that flip over where Missouri taxes get cut off?
It expires. The 3/8 cents sales tax for the Chiefs and Royals will end with the lease in 2030. It'll be over. They'll have to revote a new one for the Royals if the Royals stay in Jackson County, which it looks like maybe they will. So they're going if the Royals even want a county pitch in, they'll have to go to the voters, and the voters are going to vote no. So you're saving 3/8 of a cent sales tax, I think, with the Chiefs leaving and the Royals probably not getting any money.
So that comes in 2031.
As soon as the lease is over, that'll be it. There'll be nothing to fund.
Yeah. Okay.
The leases end.
That answers the questions for me and a lot of people who wonder.
So you should be. They should be lined up in the streets celebrating that these teams. The burden of having these teams in Jackson County is gone. They should be lining up in the streets celebrating.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, they'll save money on police work and a lot of things that occur
I don't know
around
about
the
that.
games.
I don't know that they're going to spend less. I think they're going to, the 3/8 cents sales tax will go away, but trust me, they're going to try to find a way to keep that tax. Jackson County will try its best to find a way to keep that, for sure. Here is Paul in Overland Park. Hi, Paul. What's up?
Yeah. Kevin, I love your rant, and it's very true. It's the same. These are the same type of people that complained and whined about the new airport. And I'll get to my question. You can answer off air, but I don't know how many of these people have traveled around the country to these different venues like Jerry World and what's going on in the Jerry World area. It's very much going to be what's going to happen with the Chiefs, in my belief. And so we had to see the full plan. But here's the real question I have. I've been doing a little paper math, napkin math, and I've not heard anybody talk about what the net new taxes are going to come from the 30 years of the Chiefs with 30 years of sellout and additional things like the Post Malone Jelly Roll concert that's at the Royal Stadium. How much sales tax is going to be generated just on that new that we have? I think it's going to be somewhere north between 1/6 to one or almost a half of what the entire project's going to be. Have you seen any of that?
No, because I don't know what the state star bond district is yet. I've seen what's floated, but we haven't seen complete and final analysis from the state.
Right.
But then you're actually talking to the wrong guy because I don't care. I just pointed out it's 0.00.14 of what Kansas will spend over the next 30 years. It's nothing. This is a pin drop of money.
Oh, I agree with you.
And it's for something that's tangible that the people of Kansas can look at and be proud of. When they and thanks for the call. When they put all this money, extra money, they're funding it in education. We added 4,000 new government jobs in Kansas, and they gave everybody a 2.5% raise. Okay, did we vote for that? Do we like that? Well, it's going to education. You know what? Not anymore. I don't like my money going to education anymore. They're screwing up the education system in a horrific way, indoctrinating our children. I'm not down with my money going to all the public schools. I'm sorry. How about no more raises for the schools as we have more and more and more students going into private or homeschooled educations? Here's John in Lenexa. Hi, John. Good morning.
Good morning. The last caller may have stolen my question, but I do want to take the opportunity to say I agree with everything you're saying, Kevin. I've agreed with you on a lot of all your positions, especially on the Minneapolis shooting. But getting back to the Chiefs, my question was, I haven't heard anything coming out of that meeting. Are they discounting all the tax revenue that is going to come in from people coming to the games over that many years? And I think he kind of asked that same question. So,
well, again, he was just talking earlier about how expensive Super Bowl tickets are. Great! It pays for the stadium. The more expensive, the better. How great is that?
Exactly.
There's no $100 Super Bowl tickets. You're not going to go like it's some sort of a Raiders game at the end of the year when the Chiefs are the 1 seed, the Raiders are out of the playoffs, and Mahomes isn't playing. That's not what the Super Bowl is. It's not for everyone. The higher the price, the better. We're probably looking at an average ticket price of like $15,000 by then. Great. Let's tax the snot out of those people.
Yeah, I think you alluded to this earlier in one of your conversations a couple of weeks ago. I mean, what was Clark Hunt supposed to do? Here he's got this offer. He's got the infrastructure and entertainment center already pretty much there. Of course he's going to do it. Why would anybody would have done that?
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate the call. I've been saying that for over 2 years. There was no way they were turning down. If there had been any site in Missouri for a new stadium, which did not exist, if there had been, they might have considered that. Because ultimately, Missouri's gotten to a place where their offer is very close. But they're only doing it to save the Royals. They stubbed their toe the entire process. Missouri did. 70% was always on the table. The Chiefs were always going to Kansas. That just was not even in question. The Royals' location, 119th and Knoll, not perfect. Looks like now they're probably eyeing Crown Center. Uncanceled continues. They've drawn down 700 federal agents in Minneapolis. That's next. Mark and I were just talking about the math of the Super Bowl in Kansas City and what that would be. And I've got it at about $500 million just in tickets and suite sales for that thing that Kansas will scrape 6.5% of. That's before they've sold a beer, anybody stayed at a hotel, anybody's done anything. They all come in for an entire week. And by the way, this Missouri legislator that wants to take away the Chiefs' license plates in Missouri, you're a clown. When the Super Bowl comes here, it is likely that the official NFL headquarters will be the Lowe's Hotel downtown, and they'll do the Fan Fest, and radio and media row and all the interviews and all the stuff that takes place will almost certainly be at Bartle Hall, because that's what they do in every Super Bowl city. Missouri, you're winning too. Stand down. You look like fools on this thing. Kansas City, Missouri will benefit from the Super Bowl, trust me. But Kansas, I don't know, what are we looking at? At least a couple $2 billion just for a Super Bowl?
They're paying it off early. They're paying off the star bonds early.
I know. It's like the Super Bowl alone is so much bigger than, I mean, like we're all excited about the World Cup this year and everything else. Okay, great. That's awesome. The Super Bowl, are you kidding me? It's just unbelievable. And all the people that will be staying in Kansas, spending in Kansas, working in Kansas, the game in Kansas, every single thing gets taxed with the sales tax at 6.5%. That's just one day. That's one day out of 30 years. No, folks, you can't. Again, we got to stop all being Billie Eilish. I think I made a pretty good point. Missouri can't be the loser here and Kansas the loser. That's not possible. That can't be possible. Okay? And it's the same thing when you look at this thing going on in Kansas. How can we look at this and sit here and say, oh, it can't get paid off, it can't get paid off. And at the same time, people with a straight face will say, the NFL sucks. It's too big to fail. And then you're mad at the NFL because it's so successful. Well, if it's the one thing that everybody points at that's so successful you can't slow it down, isn't that who you want to be partnered with? Honestly, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. You can sit here and crush it all day long. I want to take a moment before I get to Tom Homan today because he had a wonderful news conference this morning in Minneapolis about the Royals. I've got nothing to report to you on the Royals. I want to say that right up front. I don't know where they're going, but I got a million people telling me that it's going to be Crown Center. And I don't know whether they know anything. They all, it's just people. This. And I met with those folks a few months ago and their plan there, and it works. And yes, it will be a tight squeeze for the ballpark. But here's what I'm about. I'm about doing great things for Kansas City, the entire metro area. That site works for me better than Overland Park. Now, I understood why the Royals were looking at Overland Park. They could have made a lot of money there. They're by the wealthier people, all that stuff. I get it. And would it be crowded to go into Crown Center? Maybe. Did you know there's over 10,000 parking spots right there? Between Union Station and Crown Center and the parking garages and the hotels? There's over 10,000 places to park at a 34,000-seat stadium. You're close to having enough parking spots for people without the train. The train would go back and forth, too. Will it be a little crowded? Yeah, sure. Will it be different? Yes. But ask this. What's wrong with Crown Center? If you're as old as I am and you've lived here your whole life, you remember Crown Center being a crown jewel. It was a thing every year to go down there with your family, like the plaza, and go to the skating rink or see the mayor's tree or go shopping if you could afford to buy anything or go on date night when you're in high school, college to Crown Center. Recently, we've had gang shootings of teenagers inside Crown Center. We've had gang shootings at Union Station at Chiefs parades. That's where we're talking. Baseball can fix all that. Can bring back an area that, yes, Union Station, I love that we've refurbished it and kept it alive. But there's got to be a better purpose, a more useful purpose than the museums and things that are in there. There has to be. And how does that fit with baseball? And does it attach? Is it connected? Is it some sort of a entertainment area inside the old train station? Are the Royals involved? Or what could they repurpose and use part of Union Station for? Or is that a thing? What could they do with Crown Center, which has been dying? Could it become entertainment? Game day entertainment. Could it be an entertainment district first and shopping second? Can you save all these things? The empty buildings that don't have leases. There's 2 great hotels there, really great hotels. People still stay at those hotels, and those are nice hotels. We got a Westin and a Sheraton right there. What if the Royals built their stadium there, and what wound up happening after all this wrangling, all this, and all the Royals are a bunch of idiots, what if they redeveloped and completely revived a part of Kansas City that used to be vibrant? I'm old enough to remember the Hyatt collapse. The Hyatt Regency was the place to be. There was a roof on top that spun around. Think of 1587 and the way Kansas City has lost its mind for the steakhouse. That was Crown Center. That was that area. In the 1980s, you wanted to be there. Everybody and anybody that was anybody shopped there, skated there, ate there, dined there, invested there, had their offices there, and it's not that way today. But the infrastructure's still there. And what's more fitting than the Royals playing at a place called Crown Center? Just envision that a little bit, if that's what they're working on. I don't know that it is. I don't know. But it's got my attention because that's not a place I go anymore. It's not a place you go anymore. When I went down there and met with the people whose offices are in Crown Center, they were empty. The parking garage was empty. I parked on the first floor of the parking garage, and there were half spots empty. Nobody works there. There's emptiness. Does baseball change that? Think about it. That's what John Sherman wanted to do from day one. They wanted a real estate play. Maybe the real estate arm of the Royals buys Crown Center. I don't know. You tell me. The point of all this is these are great things for Kansas City. We can do good things in this town. Everybody just pissed and moaned about the new airport. Oh, it's so convenient. I get dropped off right at the door. You still get dropped off at the door. Every airport drops you off at the door if you have somebody to drive you. Oh, it hurt my head. We literally renovated Kauffman Stadium last time because people wanted the parking lots. That's all they wanted was the parking lots. Did we do the right thing renovating the stadiums? I wasn't in favor of the Royals. I wanted a new stadium then. But let's look what happened since they renovated those stadiums. What's that been, 18 years? 17, 18 years they renovated. The Chiefs have been to 5 Super Bowls. The Royals went to 2 World Series. Yes! The answer is yes. It was worth every nickel. Our city's great. In no small part to the pride that we have in our sports teams because we're Kansas Cityans and we do have a chip on our shoulder. We do think we're inferior because we're in the middle of the country. And we think it's really cool when we go out of town and somebody says, where are you from? And you go, Kansas City. And they say, God, I hate the Chiefs. And you love that. You love it when people say that because you used to go out of town and say, where are you from? And you say Kansas City. They go, oh, okay, that's nice. Just like they would if you were from Des Moines or Omaha or St. Louis. Oh, isn't that nice? You're from St. Louis. Go somewhere. Get out of the state somewhere. Drive anywhere. Drive to Minneapolis this summer. I don't care where you go. When somebody asks you where you're from and you tell them Kansas City, the first thing they're going to tell you is they hate the Chiefs. Yes. Thank you. And the Royals have been to a couple of World Series since the Cardinals, too, because St. Louis sucks. Let's just be honest about it. Okay? Missouri wants to do something, they better get busy over there in St. Louis. That's the city that loses everything. And they're known as that. They lose businesses, they lose football teams, they lose all that stuff. I'm proud of my town. All I've wanted from the beginning is new ballparks for both teams. I hated the idea of renovation. I'm glad the owners got it this time. Let's do something great for the next generation. And if the Royals can find a place, not 119th and Knoll, it's going to develop either way. If the Royals land in Crown Center, we can sit here and scream, we don't like the traffic. They got to build exits. We can do that all we want. Or we can sit back and watch baseball fix something that was once great in our town and bring it back to life in a way that maybe they move the Ferris wheel around the corner and put it out there in the outfield because nobody's going to that damn Ferris wheel right now. It's right down there and nobody's going. You know why? It's dark, it's creepy, and it looks dangerous as hell. I ain't going, and I don't know if those cages are bulletproof or not. But if they move that thing down to where the Royals would be at Crown Center, maybe I'll go early and have a beer and ride the wheel before the game. Do you see my drift in any of this stuff? These sports teams can do things for our city that other businesses can't. It's nice that Panasonic built a plant here for batteries. It's great. They're bringing the Buick SUV from China to Fairfax, and they're going to build it here in KCK. That's awesome. That's great for jobs. But that's not something that redevelops an area and the city rallies around. These are big, important things in a major league city. And yes, there is a difference between a major league city and a minor league city. There is. And you don't judge it in population. That's not how they're judged. Trust me, I spent a lot of time in Phoenix. We're way ahead of them in this regard. They don't win anything in any sport. They just sit there and lose at everything year after year after year. 5.5 million people, and they lost a hockey team to Salt Lake City. So, no, let's keep it up. This is a sports town. I've always been somebody who played sports, loved sports. It's been way too much an important part of my life. And so I'm completely and utterly biased on all of this. This is all good for Kansas City. Now, today in Minneapolis, Tom Homan had a news conference. They're taking 700 agents and withdrawing them. Cameras are coming for every single agent going forward. ICE, Border Patrol, everyone. He said, we will work here smarter with fewer people. We're continuing the same mission. We're not standing down on anything. We know where they are. We're going to go get them. If the local authorities want to make this easier, we'd like to just pick them up at the jails and haul them out and not go door to door, running after people that we know where they are. We'd rather not do it that way. It's safer for everyone. And he was emphatic by saying the special agents here aren't going anywhere. We're not drawing them down at all. Those are the people looking into the political and Somali fraud. And that's awesome. Homan was, again, excellent today. This should appease some people in Minnesota, and they should be fairly happy, I would think, at this point, that the agents are being drawn down, some 700 of them. So there's this story that I saw by a newspaper writer, a website writer, essentially. His last name is Nagy, like the Chiefs' former coach, and he's a Canadian writer, and he's been out there writing about the things that are going on in Canada, and he's basically written a story that we can sit here and not like Donald Trump and not want good things for Donald Trump as Canadians living our government, but sometimes the uninvited guest to the party is the one who takes a look around and analyzes it and goes, those people are all wrong and I'm right. And that's the way they're starting to describe that of Trump, that he went to Europe where all the elitists were there and Canada's going to side with those people and go against America. And they've described Donald Trump in this piece as the rude guy that showed up out of nowhere and pointed out all the things these people were wrong at. And he said, look, I'm a liberal, but you know what? I think he's right. These idiots got their heads in the sands, and boy, they're feeling it in Canada. So maybe that one is next. Wouldn't that be kind of a sweet, sweet deal? My favorite tweet so far this week, Mark Van Sickle, a mugshot of a familiar face, and it says, it wouldn't be Super Bowl week without Pat Mahomes getting arrested.
Oh, yeah. I did see that.
Grandpa Mahomes got arrested again. I'm not going to be the guy that sits here and hammers on this man. It sounds like he's been pretty clean for quite a while. He wears something called a scram on his ankle. Have you ever heard of these things?
I have, yeah.
And it just can test your blood alcohol level?
Yeah.
He had a pretty high content on January 1, which I assume was New Year's Eve spilling into January 1, but whatever. They tested him on the 5th and the 9th, and he was clean. And he's been clean throughout this process. Sounds like he had a stumble. And he's got a problem. And I wish him well. And he means no. He feels terrible about the attention he's brought to the family. I truly believe this. And I think the family wants the best. From what I can tell, if it was one slip up and he's been good for like a year or whatever and not drinking, they've got to have a little bit of leniency on this thing. If they want to add a month or two to his probation, whatever. You don't rearrest a guy or completely wreck his life over that. If that's what this is, but that's what TMZ's reporting it is. He had a slip up. And you know what? Alcoholics have slip ups. But apparently he hasn't slipped up since January 1. I mean, serious, that's a thing. If he's an alcoholic, now he's gone over a month with no trouble, and he's been tested. I mean, I'm rooting for the guy. I am. I just don't think he wants bad things for anything in his family, and I don't think he wants to bring any harm to all of them. We should be rooting for all people like that. And I know he doesn't want to get in his car or hurt anybody. He doesn't want that. He just needs to break his addiction. How about some good news, buddy? You ever eat chips?
Yeah.
Every day? Frequently?
Not every day. Occasionally.
You have a favorite?
I just like the Wavy Lays.
Wavy Lays, okay. They're about to be 15% cheaper.
Really?
Frito-Lay has announced they're rolling back their prices by 15%.
I like that.
I've got a theory why. I got a little sticker shock. Now, things cost more in Arizona. We were out there a couple weeks ago, and I went to the store and I was just going through the chip aisle, and the bag of Doritos, the big one, was $7.99. I'm like, who's that? No.
Yeah.
I'm not buying them. No. And maybe it was the store, whatever, but I know I can get them for less at Walmart. I'm just not. There's a principle to these things, right? So no. Frito-Lay, apparently, they're not saying this. I think I know what happened. Nobody's buying the chips.
I could see why if they're $8.
That's the easiest thing to cut out, right? Your kids don't really need them. You know they're not good for you. Go get some deli meat or some vegetables or something that's good for you, and people are cutting it out. So they say they want to do their part. They're lowering prices by 15%. No, their sales are down.
Yeah.
They want to sell more bags of chips. Now, let's watch and make sure the packages aren't smaller. That's what I want to make sure.
Yeah, you got to look at the ounces on those things.
Make sure on that. Bring those prices back. I love it. How about all these K-State fans that want Jerome Tang fired, the basketball coach?
I knew somebody that was on that ahead of the game.
Yeah, you think? I'm like, I am so frustrated, especially the guys in the K-State media. I've not received one apology from any of the homers in the media, you know, the guys with the websites and all that. 3 years ago, I'm like, this is the worst thing ever. I didn't care they made the Elite Eight. I'm like, he can't coach. He can't coach. His resume was bad. His coaching staff was awful. I mean, the single least accomplished staff ever hired. Like, literally, the second highest paid guy on his staff doesn't coach.
Are they just buddies?
He's just like his buddy
from
some JUCO in Mississippi or something and didn't coach there. He wasn't the head coach. He just brought in his buddy. It was like a dude went down to the barbershop, you know, and I'm not, you know, profiling here or anything like that. They make movies about this. Everybody in the barbershop's friends, right? I'll hire my friends from the barbershop to come coach with me. That's what Jerome Tang did. Now, he's a good man. He's a devout Christian. He's going to do great things after basketball. They owe him $18 million. They can't fire him. Let me say this unequivocally for any sports fans in the audience, and K-State fans in particular. Your ire is directed at the wrong person. This is not Jerome Tang's fault. It's Gene Taylor's fault. He needs to be fired. Gene Taylor needs to be fired if he does not have $18 million to buy this coach out. The problem is, if he does have $18 million, are you going to allow Gene Taylor to hire another basketball coach? Because he's hired Tang twice.
Yikes.
He's hired him twice, and they owe him $18 million that they don't have. Gene Taylor, walk. Chris Kleiman did it. He was your buddy. Save everybody the hassle. Resign. This isn't for you. The NIL era, I'm of your generation. We're the same generation. I wouldn't want anything to do with this thing either. I wouldn't want to be an 80 today. I need a 38-year-old athletic director at Kansas State. Then you keep Tang and pay him out $4 million over the next year, all right? You cut off all NIL, which this year was $8 to $10 million, depending on who you ask. You give him nothing next year. You let him finish dead last, and the new AD gets a year to figure out who the next coach is going to be. You're saving money on your football coaching staff right now. You can get out of this. The way out of this is firing Gene Taylor. This is his mess. This is all Gene Taylor's mess.
Not a bad idea.
Not Jerome Tang's fault. I'd have signed the contract. You're going to throw this in front of me? I'll sign it. I'll take it. And don't expect Tang to walk away from this like Chris Kleiman. He got $18 million coming. You owe him every nickel. Giddy up. Melania, the movie. They just added 200 more theaters nationwide to air this. It's been so popular. The Vince Show's coming up next. Thanks for listening to Uncanceled on KCMO.